the truth governs our beliefs, our faith, the trust we give, the democracy we seek. When held back, it always breaks free. Seek the truth. Set yourself free. Subscribe to read online at epaper.nation.africa. Daily Nation, the truth unfiltered.
Get ready for the inaugural legal event of the year. The Nation Golf Classic Legal Minds Edition is making its debut and it's set to be an unforgettable experience. Calling all legal professionals, from seasoned lawyers to paralegals, this is your chance to pioneer a new tradition, swapping courtrooms for fairways and legal briefs for golf tees. Visit our website or call now to secure your spot at this inaugural event. Business Daily, more possibilities.
Population Services Kenya is a leading non-governmental organization that works towards improving the lives of Kenyans, and our purpose is better health and well-being. We play a multifaceted role towards reducing gender-based violence, towards capacity building and empowerment of communities, with a lot of emphasis on women and girls. We are very excited to be partnering with the Nation Media Group and also other stakeholders in celebrating International Women's Day. On International Women's Day, which will be held on 8th of March, I will be attending the gala dinner to celebrate women's excellence and rally for more resources for women. See you there.
Welcome to IG Sacco, where your financial journey meets cutting-edge convenience. Say goodbye to queues with our CRM service. Manage your accounts, inquiries, and more, all from the comfort of your fingertips. Introducing the IG Sacco mobile app, your pocket-sized branch. Transfer funds, check balances, and enjoy a seamless banking experience on the go. Explore our comprehensive website, a one-stop hub for all your financial needs. From loan calculators to detailed information, it is all here at www.igsaccolimited.co.ke. Need a loan? Our website features a handy loan calculator. Estimate your borrowing potential and plan your repayments hassle-free. Because at IG Sacco, it's not just about banking. It's a journey, our investment, our growth. Join us today. IG Sacco, where innovation meets your financial goals.
This is the best serum I've ever used.
9 out of 10 agree Garnier Even and Matte Vitamin C Serum is the best they've used. Our highest concentration of derm actives.
Made my skin tone more even.
Brightens up my skin
with an instant glow.
Bye-bye, dark marks. Even and Matte Vitamin C Serum. 9 out of 10 agree it's the best serum they've used. By Garnier, naturally.
Welcome to Herencia, the heartland of good living, where you belong. A community with endless possibilities. Your path to discovering a master-planned gated community that matches your ambitions. Get yourself this must-have piece of paradise with state-of-the-art amenities, constant water supply, good security, tarmac roads, and much more from as low as 3.5 million. The best part, availability of buy and build financing services. Don't wait. Contact us today or visit our offices for more info. Buy and build your way at Herencia, the heartland of good living.
Enter a world where knowledge is put into practice and the heart of African agriculture beats loudly and energetically.
Welcome to Kikao,
a revolutionary talk show that is changing how people think and look at agriculture in Africa.
This is the particular variety that is suitable.
We will seek to demystify GMOs.
Kikao is a platform where African agriculture takes center stage.
Seeds, just which is which.
From seasoned farmers to thought leaders, they direct us toward a future in which livelihoods thrive and nations prosper.
It became possible to move genes from unrelated organisms.
Kikao, every Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. only on NTV. This is NTV.
I want to show you something. You see, over the years, we've been delivering the news in the same way.
You see, there's this thing they say about the customer. They are boss.
You see, if your boss says something, it's only prudent that you heed.
You see, we're not allowing ourselves to be stuck with how things have been done.
You see, how they were and have been is not how you wanted. Now, what you see is what we see.
We see the different way that you consume content, plus how you want the news told and delivered.
We see eye-opening new opportunities of delivering rich, well-produced content to you.
We see a different experience for you as we embark on this journey to meet your needs and preferences.
From tonight's NTV News will be different from what it has always been.
Shorter bulletins covering fewer stories but with more value added.
On Monday, we start with our editorial commentary, The Memo, where we say it as it is, because really, it is what it is. And in staying with our watchdog role, we'll have an analytical special report, The Monitor, which is all about accountability. We'll end our bulletin at 9:30 p.m.
And pass the baton to us at 9:35 p.m. from the field to the courts and every other sport we shall dive in and play it only like we can on Spot On.
On Tuesdays, we'll have an in-depth report on all things sustainability on the heartbeat. Health, environment, climate change, science. We've got you. We close the bulletin at 9:30 p.m. and pave way for a special insight-laden production, 12 minutes, which airs from 9:35 p.m.
On Wednesdays, our in-depth report is on business and the economy. The segment On the Money. Yes, we are right on the money. The bulletin ends at 9:30 p.m. We have the compelling and insightful production, 12 minutes.
Thursday is our Siasa Day on politics and power. We shall seek to filter through the political noise and musical chairs and help you feel the pulse of the nation. After which we shall bring you NTV Presents, where we shall offer extended news features, groundbreaking documentaries, and big interviews.
Fridays are about life's social dynamics, family, relationships, entertainment, simply put, lifestyle. This is life. Once the bulletin closes at 9:35 p.m., we head to our news court, where we prosecute matters of public interest before you, Justice Wanjiko.
On Saturdays, we are about EQ, equality, a look into gender and education quality matters. At 9:35 p.m., we have 12 minutes themed around sports.
Sundays, we have Inside Out, a segment themed on investigations and similar reports, bringing what is hidden inside out to the light. Then we will have a deep dive feature that will run into our extended bulletin.
You said there is more to life than the gory and stressful stuff, and we agree.
So every night, we'll end our bulletins on a positive note.
Inspiration, humor, offbeat content that will guarantee you a good night. Welcome to the future.
Tunakusikiza.
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 Tonight, we are filing our memo to the collective desk of the political class. Individuals and groupings that are so brazenly shameless that they will use the deaths of people as opportunities to push their fleeting clout. When we have people throwing insults, disrespecting the dead and their families, and some even going on to have physical fights, is this the civility that our forefathers and our morality expects of us? Is this the decorum that the oaths of office and law expects of you? Do you not know the sting of death and how it leaves many inconsolable? Do you think your Kenya Kwanza versus Azimio fights will heal any grieving heart? Do you think your Mr. Governor versus Mr. MP glorified squabbles will serve as any sort of healing balm to the bereaved? When a mother has lost her child, or a man his parent, or any other permutation of deep loss, why would it feel okay to use that sacrosanct ceremony to embody a concerning form of inhumanity? When we have a governor, Simba Arati, and a whole cabinet secretary, Ezekiel Mashogu, trading insults at the podium, what example are we setting for our youth? And what adds to this sad truth is that they are not the only ones. Politics has not only found its way to the pulpits, but has pitched tent at funerals in utter disregard to the bereaved and the deceased. Our political class must stop dancing on graves. They must stop painting a picture of people looking forward to a death so as to stand on a stage to perform their shamelessness. That is the memo tonight.
I made an effort to reach out to Safaricom. I told Safaricom I've made this payment and it seems it did not go to eCitizen because I'm not able to submit the forms that I was filling. Safaricom said we do not reverse pay bill unless eCitizen reverses for you.
So mpaka vile pay bill ilichangiwa ndio ukakuwa na issue. So sielewi ni nini.
Digitized agony and suffering. The story of Kenyans seeking government services through the eCitizen platform. Also tonight,
Kiptum was very disciplined guy and he's a very humble guy. Since I met him, I never see him any bad thing.
Gone too soon. Athletes in Nandi suspend their training to mourn marathon record holder Kelvin Kiptum. Plus,
ni kwamba amedeclare vita na tuko tayari.
Elusive peace in the troubled north. Political leaders record statements with DCI. Families mourn their kin. And
I started by buying posho meals and selling them.
Age cannot stop him. Mechanical innovations are his therapy. The story of 72-year-old Crispin Adet.
Live from Nation Centre, this is NTV Tonight with Smriti Viriarthi.
Thanks very much for joining us. Flora Atieno is our sign language interpreter tonight. Now, fellow athletes have suspended their training to mourn world marathon record holder Kelvin Kiptum, who died in a road crash Sunday night. Family, friends, government and athletics officials gathered at his home following the news of his death and that of his coach, Gervais Hakizimana. Our reporter, Gabriel Kudaka, with more.
Emotions ran high at Chepsamo village in Chepkorio, Keyo South, Elgeyo Marakwet, as family and friends struggled to come to terms with the demise of the athlete. It is this same venue where they had gathered a few months ago to celebrate Kiptum's world-beating achievement. They could not believe that the rising star's light had been dimmed in a road carnage. Asanet Rotich was uncontrollable as she tried to narrate the last conversation she had with her now late husband and father of their two children.
He was loving, friendly. Nilikuwa napenda watoto wake sana. Hata saa hii nashindwa nitaanza aje. Nitawaambia aje. Nitawaambia baba alienda wapi.
She painfully narrated the plans they had as a family before Kiptum's death.
Tulikuwa tunapanga mazuri. Hata April tungeenda na yeye. Hiyo race akikimbia tungeenda na yeye. Alafu tulikuwa tunangoja plan ya nyumba hii, tupate plan ya nyumba tuchenge.
Some athletes record their last training with Kiptum on Saturday.
Nilikuwa na matumaini sana na Kevin. Na yule ambaye alikuwa amesema ataiweka angeiweka. Kama versus yake tulikuwa na hopes kubwa sana kwa sababu alikuwa ametupromise 159 possible for him.
Kiptum and his coach Hakizimana lost their lives on Sunday night when the car they were traveling in veered off the road before hitting a tree at Kaptagat along Eldoret Ravine Highway. Gabriel Kudaka, NTV.
Well, from dropping out of school to beginning his athletics career without running shoes, Kelvin Kiptum always defied the odds. It was this desire and determination that drove him to the pinnacle of marathon running in 2023, when he broke the world record. Our sports reporter Elijah Oko now tells us more about the young man who cut his studies short to pursue his dream in athletics.
On the 8th of October 2023, Kelvin Kiptum stunned the sports world when he shattered the world marathon record, which was previously held by Eliud Kipchoge when he put in a spirited fight to stop the timer at 2 hours and 35 seconds to clinch the Chicago Marathon. The 24-year-old who hails from Elgeyo Marakwet County shaved off 34 seconds from the previous record in less than a year since making his marathon debut.
Crushed the world record, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing finish. Incredible.
Born on the 2nd of December 1999, the soft-spoken marathon legend was raised in Chepsamo village, Chepkorio in Elgeyo Marakwet County, and was the only child of Mzee Samson Cheriot. According to the family, Kiptum went against their advice to further his studies at the Eldoret National Polytechnic after having attained a grade 1 certificate at the Chepkorio Youth Polytechnic in electronic wiring to pursue his dream in athletics.
Ukamuuliza wewe sasa utakimbia uende wapi? Akasema waende tu. Mimi nikimbie. Sisi tukaona yeye ni mtu bure. By that time tulikuwa naona he is not going anywhere. Because hakuwa na viatu. He went as far as following sports shoes from Chofrika Moro.
Despite the lack of training gear, Kiptum strived to satisfy the insatiable desire to forge a career in athletics. In 2018, Kiptum got a taste of victory as he clinched the Family Bank Half Marathon, which spurred him on to victory the following year at the CAS Half Marathon.
Family Bank race 21. Anamua. Ukaona pesa ndio inakuja. Naanza kusalamia na ngurubili.
Between 2019 and 2021, Kiptum took part in 8 half marathon races in the international stage, finishing only twice in the podium places, notching his first international victory in Le Lyon-Montbéliard to Belfort half marathon in 2019. Teaming up with his longtime coach Gavis Hazikamana, Kiptum made his marathon debut on the 4th of December 2022, where he recorded the fastest debut marathon in history, clocking 2 hours, 1 minute and 53 seconds. He would then go on to smash the London Marathon course record as he clocked 2 hours, 1 minute and 25 seconds on the 23rd of April. Kiptum finally wrote his name in the annals of history as he stunned the world in Chicago Marathon, breaking the marathon world record.
Marathon ya kile ikakuwa ni corona. 2021 baada ya kuwa mwoga 2022 akasema ninaamua sasa niende marathon. Akatumia program nyingine nzuri.
Kiptum was preparing to take part in the Rotterdam Marathon, where he had hoped to set a new world record on the 14th of April. The 24-year-old was crowned the World Athlete of the Year out of Stadia last year and leaves behind a wife and 2 children. Elijah Oko, NTV.
An absolute tragedy. Our condolences to all families affected. Right, at this point of the broadcast, we are taking a quick break. Stay with us. There's more on the other side.
Mortein Doom, with its trusted formulation, it provides protection in seconds. So spread the Mortein Doom message of how we, you and I, can fight to end malaria.
Mortein Doom, Kenya's #1 choice.
Imperfections, blackheads. Try Garnier's Pure Active 3-in-1 Charcoal, powered by salicylic acid and purified charcoal to reduce pimple-causing germs by 99.5%. One product, 3 uses for a pure skin. Garnier Pure Active 3-in-1 Charcoal, #1 in South Africa, by Garnier Naturally.
Colgate Herbal is formulated from a unique blend of natural herbs and is scientifically proven to strengthen teeth and keep gums healthy. Try Colgate Herbal, scientifically proven for strong teeth and healthy gums.
When your kids bond with you, you're giving them a great start. Prestige Margarine. It all starts with a great start. Now comes in the original and vanilla flavor.
Umepata safari ya dharura?
Ndio.
So ulikuwa unyape tu uende bila kuaga?
Nikikubali kukaa na yeye, hakukuwa na kitu. Tuliishi single room ya mabati. Na hata nikakubali kumlelea huyo nisi wake. Kasi msaada watu wetu, tungekuwa pale pale.
Mbona umekuwa mwongo hivi? Ulisema unataka kumuoa Helen. Kumbe kisiri unakutana na Rose? And colluding to put me in the dark. You had no intention of marrying Helen, right?
Nilikuwa nataka nikupigie simu, lakini vile umekuja hapa, nataka uniambie kila kitu.
Welcome back. As the government sprints to onboard all its services onto the eCitizen platform and even the single payment system, questions abound over the numerous complaints of a failed eCitizen platform and a government that is hell-bent on ignoring the concerns. From services at the National Transport and Safety Authority, the National Health Insurance Fund, to the business registration services, most of government services are affected, with cases of money disappearing into thin air after payments through the platform using the government paybill number 22222. Well, tonight, our senior specials and investigations reporter, Ibrahim Karanja, takes a deep dive into the workings of the eCitizen platform and the challenges therein in our maiden accountability production, The Monitor.
A basic search of the keywords paybill 22222 on social media results in what could only be described as a chaotic space that Kenyans have unfortunately found themselves being forced into. In the hundreds of complaints we came across on Facebook, we narrowed it down to one Empress Nambwira Wanyama, a resident of Mombasa, and this is her story.
Experience yangu na NHIF, hapo nyuma haikuwa na issue. But come this mwezi huu wa kwanza, mtoto wangu aligonjeka, nilipoenda hospitalini nikijua nimelipia, nikaambiwa siwezi access zile services, manake niko na arrears. Na kweli upon checking my account nikaona message nimeambiwa niko na arrears.
But wait a minute. This shocking news came to her only days after she had paid her monthly contribution. So what went wrong?
Hilo tatizo limeanza mwaka huu. Tangu wa change hiyo pay bill from 222 2000 to 222 222. Nimetumia NHIF for a very long time. Over 10 years. I'm a mother, I have 2 girls, 2 daughters. Moja kwa 22. My baby is 4 years. Mwenye nilienda naye ndo nikapatana na hiyo shida. So and all this time nimekuwa nikitumia NHIF, sijakuwa na issues. So mpaka vile hii pay bill ilichangewa ndio kukakuwa na issues. So sielewi ni nini.
That 22222 paybill number is a government single pay point for which all payments for government services are now being channeled through, with a plan to make the scope wider and include school fees.
Nimejaribu kuuliza tu NHIF to shed more light on this, but no information is forthcoming.
Na kulingana na wewe inasemekana mwisho ulilipa lini kwa records zao?
Wanasema mwisho nilipa December 2023. Ambapo mimi hata M-Pesa statement yangu inaonyesha tarehe 3 Januari 2024, saa 11:53.
The frustrations cut across many sectors. For instance, for Dr. Hilda Muteshi, the country's business registration service is the face of the brokenness that is the eCitizen platform. A simple process of registering a company through the platform opened the floodgates of frustrations.
I was able to make a payment of 13,150 to eCitizen, and this payment did not reflect. So I got a bit frustrated and I wanted to reach out to the government services, eCitizen, so that somebody could at least address my concerns. So in the effort, I made an email to the eCitizen and took time to be responded to, but the response I got was that give us the correct reference number. I pasted the exact M-Pesa message that I had received, and I got a reply that please don't give us the M-Pesa message, give us the reference number. And after that, I did not get feedback from that email again.
And worse still was the follow-up for a speedy resolution.
I made an effort to reach out to Safaricom. I told Safaricom I've made this payment and it seems it did not go to eCitizen because I'm not able to submit the forms that I was filling. Safaricom said we do not reverse pay bill unless eCitizen reverses for you. So I said, how do I go about it? They say, I'm going to give you a number, and through that number you can call them and they are able to reverse your payment or guide you through. I called the number said this number, the call cannot be completed as dialed. I thought of an alternative, their numbers provided on the platform, and I called the same numbers and the numbers went unpicked. Took more than 5 days.
Hilda's issue has since been resolved through a friend who knows a friend who works at eCitizen. But question is, how many Kenyans have friends working at eCitizen? Meanwhile, the country's car dealership business is grounded, literally, thanks to the eCitizen malfunction.
Everything collapsed. Total collapse.
CG Munyori is the Secretary General of the Kenya Auto Bazaar Association, a sector hard hit by the migration of NTSA Teams services to the eCitizen platform.
They gave us 4 days of outage. That's from 1st of January to the 4th of January. Unfortunately, after the 4 days, everything collapsed. Total collapse. And even up to, as we speak today, there's still no progress on that issue. That basically means that you cannot register a vehicle, you cannot transfer a vehicle, you cannot book for inspection, and all the services that were within Teams have all been paralyzed.
Asset financing, which accounts for well over 80% of second-hand car purchases, has stalled and its ramifications are dire. Indeed, this letter by the Kenya Bankers Association to the National Transport and Safety Authority NTSA's DG's George Njau on the 29th of January 2024 highlights the nightmare that the asset financiers are facing with this broken government service. The letter reads in part that following the migration of NTSA services from Teams to eCitizen carried out on the 29th of December 2023, banking institutions have faced various challenges with the new portal which have negatively impacted the asset finance business. End of quote. The letter further lists 8 services that have been halted by this move, including inability to transfer or accept ownership for second-hand motor vehicles, inability to apply for motor vehicle inspections, reflective number plates, duplicate logbooks, change of vehicle particulars, or vehicle searches. Leaving the experience of the car dealers, we attempted to make a transfer of a bought unit from the dealer's name to the joint ownership of a bank and the buyer.
We preview our application to make sure all entries you've done are correct. If there's an entry that is wrong, you will get an alert at this point that you have not put this entry or something of the sort. When you click submit, it says application for motor vehicle has been submitted successfully, but still it's under decline. So maybe I can call them and tell them I've resubmitted again. Hello, hi.
Because it's just showing whatever was there before. There is no submitted on this, not submitted on that.
So my main question is, who declined it? Is it NTSA? Is it the bank? Is it the client?
No, it's a system issue. That's why I think you need to visit the NTSA officer.
Okay.
So that they look into it. There is something that the system is failing to pick.
Okay.
So it is out. Since there is a system issue, it is automatically just declined. The system declines.
Is there such a mechanism whereby I don't have to come and queue? And
no, unfortunately now, in this new system, which we are given a government directive to adopt, new.
Okay.
That will little to no time to comply. So that's why you want to school fees citizen.
Yeah.
Association on that.
Yeah.
You can imagine the pandemonium that will be there.
Okay.
Come next term. Because the system will not be ready for the influx that will be there.
And just like a cancer, the e-citizen mess continues to spread quickly right into the health sector. This is the Kenyatta National Hospital, where the usual wait for care at the specialized clinics have now been made longer, owing to delay in confirmation of payments made through the 22222 pay bill number. President William Ruto is on record saying that those opposing the digitization of all services are quote-unquote corruption cartels. What the president and the Kenya Kwanza government refuses to acknowledge is that such cases as are espoused by these vulnerable and helpless men and women seeking care at different medical facilities across the country, those who only depend on NHIF for care and cannot get services despite prompt payment, Kenyans who may have nothing to do with corruption cartels, but whose only demand is an efficient government service, far from the charade that is the current e-citizen platform.
What is the purpose of automation? And how do we automate our services? And only that to resolve an issue, then you have to go physical. Then let's have the services physical anyway.
Attempts to reach the NHIF or even the Kenyatta National Hospital proved futile, showing just how much government officials, perhaps out of fear of reprisals, are unwilling to come out and speak about a problem at their doorsteps, resulting from a hurried and almost forced transfer of services to the platform. In an email response to our questions, the NTSA's Principal Communication Officer, Anthony Nyongesa, stated that the authority has relied on the platform since 2015, when the processes involving application and renewal of driving license were automated for the first time. The email by Nyongesa further says that the e-citizen platform has efficiently facilitated payment of all services offered by the authority for almost 9 years. In a written response to the Nation Media Group, the e-citizen management says that government collections have increased from the average of 55 million shillings per day, that is in the financial year 2022-2023, to a daily average of about 350 million shillings currently. Additionally, they said that a total of 15,440 government services have been onboarded out of an identified 19,038 services. On the numerous complaints on disruption of services, e-citizen says that there are teams handling the complaints based on their different nature. While the government acknowledges that there has been an increase in non-tax revenue since the automation of all government services, the operational side of these very services certainly needs a little more attention than the political bickering currently witnessed. The people are hurting as some of these services are broken, and it will only take the resolve of a responsible government to make sure that its ambitious plan does not come to the detriment of its very citizens. Ibrahim Karanja, NTV.
Well, that expose on our Monitor report takes us to the business news. Here now is NTV's Nina Shaban.
Good evening. Let's take a look at the business news. My name is Nina Shaban. The price of cooking gas increased by 1.7% over last year amid a rally in global prices and a weak shilling, which negated the tax cut on the product. A 13-kilogram filled cylinder of liquefied petroleum gas, as LPG, was refilling at an average of 3,032 shillings in December last year. And according to data from the Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics, it is a marginal increase from an average refilling price of 2,980 shillings in December 2022. Now, this means that cooking gas prices have returned to the level before the government removed taxes on the product. Agriculture and Livestock Development Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi has revealed that his ministry has data of more than 6.4 million farmers in the country who will be prioritized as key beneficiaries during the implementation of key projects. The framework is projected towards improving food and nutrition security by cutting down on importation of food items and leveraging more on local production. All right, and moving on swiftly, the year 2023 saw massive consolidations and mergers in the agriculture sector and acquisitions on the banking sector, and the consolidation was so historic. Even a digital lender got the regulators' nod to acquire a microfinance bank. But one of the key acquisitions in the year was Mayfair Bank's takeover by Egypt's largest private and commercial bank. We will be following up on that particular story in just a bit. Now, last week's move by the Central Bank of Kenya, CBK, to raise borrowing costs to a 12-year high of 13% has further dampened trading activity on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, with analysts warning that the trend would prolong as investors shifted to fixed income assets. On Wednesday, just a day after the Apex Bank's announcement, the Nairobi bourse recorded a 9.8 billion shillings paper wealth loss to close at a market cap of 1.435 trillion shillings, down from 1.445 trillion shillings on Tuesday. By the close of Friday, the cap dipped further to stand at 1.424 trillion shillings, having lost a cumulative of up to 20.9 billion shillings since the announcement of the lending rate review. Last week, foreign investors pulled out 63.2 million shillings from the NSE, extending the previous week's trend. They remained net sellers, marking 1.018 million shillings in net portfolio outflows. That's it for Business News tonight. My name is Nina Shaban. Enjoy the rest of your evening, but don't go anywhere. Smriti is coming back with more news.
Right, before we close, now that story on our Monitor segment takes us to this point that the Nation Media Group then sought responses from state departments affected by delays in that e-citizen service. Now, the State Department for Housing and the Kenyatta National Hospital sent their responses. Here's what they had to say. Now, according to the State Department for Housing, deposits reflect on the wallets as they transact depending on the selected mode of payment, and RTGS in fact takes longer. On delays, the department says some payments do not reflect immediately, and a verification process is a normal procedure before a service is offered. Regarding refunds, the department says the members must make an online application, which is followed by a verification on the account balance, and that takes about 14 days. Now, some patients from KNH complained about delays in receiving SMS feedback after making payments to the hospital on the eCitizen platform, and say they've had to wait for longer for treatment as a result of this. But according to KNH, they have no specific reports about patients whose treatment plans have been delayed. The hospital says suppliers are also paid on time, and allegations that they're not are untrue, and that their financial status has not been affected. And KNH believes that the eCitizen platform has in fact improved its efficiency due to integrated systems. Now, you will no doubt agree that news bulletins can be rather top-heavy, but every Monday I'll give you a breather from the hard-hitting news by taking you out into the wild for that moment of calm, that sense of awe, and that appreciation for nature. Now, I'll leave you with this, and after this, stay tuned for Sport On. But on an NTV Wild Talk shoot, we were lucky to come across this moment of affection between lionesses and their cubs in Loisaba, Laikipia County. I'm Smriti Vidyathi. Thanks for watching. Here is that moment inspired by nature.
Step up to more fun and get more than you pay for. Upgrade now and get boosted to the next package for free. Dial *423# or call 0711 066 000 and upgrade to the next level for free.
To protect our family from germs that cause illness when it's cold, we use Dettol soap.
Dettol soap with germ defense gives you protection. When it's cold, germs are transferred in different ways, and Dettol soap's germ defense protects you from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol sure.
Now introducing the new 125-gram Dettol soap at only 200 shillings.
This is the best serum I've ever used.
9 out of 10 agree Garnier Even and Matte Vitamin C Serum is the best they've used. Our highest concentration of derm actives.
Made my skin tone more even. Brightens up my skin with an instant glow.
Bye-bye, dark marks. Even and Matte Vitamin C Serum. 9 out of 10 agree it's the best serum they've used by Garnier, naturally.
As we gather in Gaborone for this exchange of ideas, let us remind ourselves of the hope that Africa represents. This hope has been demonstrated in many success stories, which we must constantly communicate in the most true perspective to the rest of the world and dispel the distortions of Afro-pessimistic narratives.
Buda, kama uko na kakitu, maganji, usikuwe mgamu sana kwa mpenzio. Time to time, mfanyie surprise. Mpeleke salon atengenezwe kanywele hivi, mchukulie kasimu kazuri, peleka yeye dina kwa hoteli kapoa, akaange tu amefurahi. Utajionea mafuriko ya upendo. Right.
To get mafuriko za upendo as your skiza tune, dial *811 *923#.
Skiza na Nation.
Umepata safari ya dharura?
Ndio.
So ulikuwa unyape tu uende bila kuaga?
Nikikubali kukaa na yeye, hakukuwa na kitu. Tuliishi single room ya mabati. Na hata nikakubali kumlelea huyo nisi wake. Kasi msaada watu wetu, tungekuwa pale.
Mbona umekuwa mwongo hivi? Ulisema unataka kumuoa Helen. Kumbe kisiri unakutana na Rose? And colluding to put me in the dark. You had no intention of marrying Helen, right?
Nilikuwa nataka nikupigie simu, lakini vile umekuja hapa, nataka uniambie kila kitu.
Across all towns and cities,
tunamukaribisha Adua NTV,
hills and valleys, where adventure lies, across lakes and oceans, county to county, across all platforms, our signal dances from dusk until dawn.
Huwa tunaangalia televisheni yao, tunasoma magazeti na pia tunasikiza radio.
We shall reach you because the nation is watching. A tapestry of stories, a canvas unfurled. NTV on the road, connecting every corner, every pulse. This is NTV, turning on your world.
Conchita's just pretending to be crazy. She told me that before she went missing. I'm sure Celestina has silenced anyone who knows her darkest secrets.
I'm going to have Conchita located before Celestina does anything to her.
There's a reward for anyone who can find Miss Conchita. I know where she can be found. Let's meet her. This feels off.
Mitch, I'm not afraid. If Celestina's really the one behind this, then maybe it's time we faced each other.
All right, but be careful. Say your prayers because this is your last day on Earth. Finally, I'm going to make you pay for what you did to us. For killing my sister, Mia!
Prudential is now on M-Pesa app. Get a cancer cover from as low as 750 bob per month. Na pia, ukiwa admitted Hosi, unapata chapa daily for each day hauko hustle for as low as 1,250 bob per month.
Get ready to dive into the pearls of a generation that's shaping the future.
On this new season of Speaking of Gen Z, we uncover stories and emotions behind relationships, friendship, family, and much more. It's not about the miles between us, it's about the connections we share. And this is the Strings Attached edition.
Baby, come give me something.
Can we talk about situationships?
Speaking of Gen Z podcast, the Strings Attached edition. Wednesdays from 10 a.m. on Nation FM and Nation.Africa.
Welcome to Speaking of Gen Z.
Thousands of Africans have been killed by war, natural disaster. Millions in different parts of the continent have been displaced by floods and war. Some of the hottest conditions in 2 centuries are destroying lives. But we have risen as Africans. Together and with partners of goodwill, several African countries have taken steps towards large-scale vaccination against malaria, which is a fearful disease in this continent. As drought and other environmental conditions ravage livelihoods, countries like Rwanda have built ambitious irrigation projects, and Botswana is aiming to build one of the biggest irrigation schemes to transport 595 million cubic meters of water in a year from the Chobe-Zambezi River through about 1,250 kilometers of pipeline to its arid southern region.
Enter a world where knowledge is put into practice and the heart of African agriculture beats loudly and energetically.
Welcome to Kikao,
a revolutionary talk show that is changing how people think and look at agriculture in Africa.
This is the particular variety that is suitable.
We will seek to demystify GMOs.
Kikao is a platform where African agriculture takes center stage.
Seeds, just which is which.
From seasoned farmers to thought leaders, they direct us toward a future in which livelihoods thrive and nations prosper.
It became possible to move genes from unrelated organisms.
Kikao, every Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. only on NTV.
Get ready to dive into the pearls of a generation that's shaping the future.
On this new season of Speaking of Gen Z, we uncover stories and emotions behind relationships, friendship, family, and much more. It's not about the miles between us, it's about the connections we share. And this is the Strings Attached edition.
Baby, come give me something.
Can we talk about situationships?
Speaking of Gen Z podcast, the Strings Attached edition. Wednesdays from 10 a.m. on Nation FM and Nation.Africa.
Welcome to Speaking of Gen Z.
Colgate Herbal is formulated from a unique blend of natural herbs and is scientifically proven to strengthen teeth and keep gums healthy. Try Colgate Herbal, scientifically proven for strong teeth and healthy gums.
NTV, turning on your world.
Well, hello there, and glad you're still with us. Of course, it's another edition of Sport On. It's a difficult one for us, of course, with what transpired on Sunday night. I'm joined as always by my colleague James Wakabi. James, it's usually very difficult in such instances. When it comes to sports, it's usually about joy, it's about inspiration, but unfortunately, sometimes it's about very, very difficult situations.
Yes, it's about the one thing you don't want to have to talk about. You hope to never have to talk about it. So when you see something flash on X that something has happened to Kevin Kiptum, you go like, hold up. Then you start to hope. You know, human beings, we have this thing called hope. Eh? Yes. You hope and you hope and you hope until when it's everywhere, then you realize, now you start to make terms with it. But yes, really, really sad. Not the kind of way you want to start the week, not the kind of news you expect in an Olympic year, not the kind of news you expect when it's 2 months to him attempting to run in under 2 hours. And then you think about, that's us now as sportsmen and women. Like, we love sports, we want to see him, we want him to achieve. Then you go back down to his family, you go down to his wife, you go down to his kids. And everything about it is just sad. It's just terribly, terribly, terribly sad.
Yeah, and you can see that these are images of his last training session this past weekend. And hopefully we'll be linking up with one of the people who was with him that weekend in that final training session. And it's almost poignant because one of the gentlemen in that photo stated that he wanted to take photos. Kiptum really wanted to take photos with them.
Yes, and in hindsight you wonder why. Like just in hindsight you wonder why. Like, although again we're in the era of photos, everyone takes pictures, but you look at it and you wonder maybe why. What's happening? Why does he feel the need to document this particular training session, this particular day? But it's, look, 2011, May 15th, I was woken up. Samuel Wanjiru is passed on. Same kind of news, Olympic champion, London champion, Chicago champion, a guy who had so much potential, and everyone thought, he's gone, and he's gone too soon. Last night, 11 p.m., midnight, when AFCON is going on, you see the same thing, and you immediately start to wonder, gone too soon, both at 24. And you're thinking, this young man had run how many marathons?
3.
Like he had them started. Like he basically was just getting started. So to lose him at such a young age, it's crazy. I'm not sure whether one can sit and explain just how heavy it is, but if you look at how the whole world has reacted, I think it tells you, Guinness Book of World Records tweeted, Lord Sebastian Coe tweeted, every single person who talks about athletics on X tweeted about him with a picture of him. It maybe just tells you how highly people rated him. Piers Morgan tweeted about him, saying, he's gone too soon. It just tells you how significant his achievements were and what we all expected him to do, because he was going to run in Rotterdam, April 14, and we all thought this under 2 hours is going to come in an official race finally.
There's something about such realities, Wakabi. You can see the images that we're showing on the screen now of him, of course, just going to his management team, just hugging them. We will never see this again, Wakabi.
Yes, from 11 p.m. last night, it's done. All we have is memories. All we have is memories, and we are a country that forgets very quickly, Bernard. When you think about it, people move on. Samuel died in 2011. The following year, Kenya won silver and bronze at the Olympics. Wilson Kipsang and Abel Kipsang. We move on. But I think maybe it's time we look at this thing and we wonder, can we do things differently? Should we maybe manage our athletes differently? Should we maybe change how things are around our athletes? Because look, we are in 2024, we are not in 1992. This is not Paul Tergat, Moses Tanui, Moses Kiptanui, Paul Ereng. No, this is a whole different crop of young men. We're in a whole digital world, all modern internet, social media and everything. So maybe should we manage them better? Should we do things better around our athletes? Is maybe that, I feel like that is one of the things we need. So that we are not saying it's not going to happen, but so that you're able to mitigate against some of these circumstances. Because like I said, 2011 Wanjiru, right. 2018 Nicholas Bett, 2024 Kevin Kiptum. What's going to happen next? What will happen next? Should we maybe worry about it? Should we relook how we, everything around our athletes is?
System, yes.
The ecosystem, should we? Because those are the ones who we've lost. But we've had others who've had close shaves. So what exactly happens there? Because it's not one, it's not two, it's a long list. So what do we do as a country? What do we do as the people who, and this one I threw to the people who manage these athletes, because it's their job to manage them. Getting them a race is one thing, coaching them is another thing, but how you manage every other thing.
Every other aspect.
Yes, because when you think about it, how big was the team that managed Usain Bolt, for example? How big, and I'll give an example. I interviewed Victor Wanyama in Nairobi when he joined Spurs, and he had a Lucky and a Minder. A guy who was making sure he's okay. You know, when would you like to travel back? Would you like still or sparkling water? When do you think your mom should come? What should we do with some of your furniture? Like a guy is dedicated to Victor. He is following everywhere, and he's with a notebook like mine, like just ticking off.
I get what you're trying to say, Okabi, and it's the harsh reality, because you can imagine the responsibility that is bestowed on these individuals. You're a global superstar. You're a global superstar. Look at all the tributes that have been flowing from around the world. I remember when I was with him in 2023 at the World Athletics Awards in Monaco, and you could see that he was very humble, very subdued. And I'm thinking this is a global superstar. You could compare. There was a part where he was standing with Noah Lyles. I'm sure the images will be played shortly of how things were in Monaco, and he was so subdued, he was calm, smiling, just enjoying the moment, being amongst other star athletes. And just to fathom that this is the world marathon record holder. He had won the world marathon majors and eventually won the world athlete out of outdoor. Of course,
yes, out of stadia, yeah.
Out of stadia. Of course, that new system, most people didn't like it, but he won a global accolade. He was awarded by the Prince of Monaco. That is such a
at that level,
prestigious level of respect.
But at that level, you are no longer just Bernard.
Yes.
You literally belong to the whole sporting world. You're almost like an ecosystem by yourself. And maybe we should do better in terms of how we manage all. And I'm not saying that the management was not great. I'm just saying we need to learn lessons from Samuel happened in 2011. Bet happened in 2018. This has happened in 2024. In between, we've had close shaves here, there. What is going on? What can we do to mitigate against this? How can we change? What can we change? Because one is got to change something. Because clearly, it's going to happen.
It's a terrible pattern.
There's a pattern there. So how do we stop it? How do we manage things better? We are not saying if you manage things better, then nothing else happens. But I'm saying can we do better in terms of how we manage this? Especially because those three athletes have the same sort of characteristics. They all shot to fame in an instant. Like it's bang, successful, crazy talented people. So how do we support better our athletes? How do we mitigate against this?
That's a key talking point. How do we support them?
How do we make sure that...
How do we protect them as well?
Yes, because and look, we are all saying this because we are devastated. We are not sitting here and saying, oh, no. We are just saying, look, we are devastated. How do we stop? How do we mitigate against? How do we support better? How do we make sure that everything is better around our athletes? Maybe I feel like we should modernize it a bit more.
Yeah.
I think gone are the days when all the thing the athlete has is a coach and a race organizer or an agent. I feel you need more holistic kind of taking care and making sure that everything is going on. I don't know, but we are speaking from a point of loss as sports fans, people who are waiting to see this guy who does the sign of the cross and then takes off after 25K. What will he do in Paris? What will he do in Rotterdam? What will he do in 2 years? So we're all feeling that loss. But like I said, our loss pales in significance to the loss to his young one, to the loss to his family, to the loss to his father, to the loss to his wife. But it's just terrible. It's those things you hope to never have to talk about because you're hoping they go away, but it's been brought to us and there's not much we can do.
As you can clearly see, we are still trying to the thing is about such situations. There's no direct way of approaching it. It's very unstable. It's surreal. First of all, it almost still feels like a dream because I've not slept since around 4 a.m.
Yes.
Once I heard about the news. So still trying to process. I can only imagine how it is for the family, and of course we condole with them. We want just to give you an opportunity as well to reflect on Kevin Kiptum and his performances. We of course asked this specific question. We're doing things slightly different on the show tonight. We're asking you, what is your special message to remember him? What's your special tribute to Kevin Kiptum, the late? So you're sending your sentiments at Bernard Ndong, at Jay Wakabi, at NTV Kenya. Remember the hashtag to use is spot on, and we'll be sampling your sentiments during this live broadcast.
In association with KCB.
Right now, let's shift gears, Wakabi, and this is a discussion we had on radio over the weekend. It was very insightful. We spoke about sporting injuries, and we're joined by Dr. Mordecai Atunga. He's an orthopedic surgeon, and also joined by Dr. Tahir Kadernani. I do hope I pronounced it correctly.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the few people.
Wakabi, now you should come for lessons.
No, we agree. Listen, I went to a school that was a polling station. So the mere fact I can speak English, I am winning. My village is winning. You, on the other hand, French, Portuguese, English.
Also mother tongue as well, of course.
Yeah, I was going to say the Luo. Yeah, so yeah, that's your department.
Dr. First of all, thank you for joining us. I know we were going to talk about sports injuries, but I think it's important for us to appreciate and just hear your sentiments. What would be your tribute to the late Kevin Kiptum?
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to say something. It's a shocking loss. It's an absolutely shocking loss. In his short time, he had achieved so much, and we were all looking forward to what he was going to do next, both as an individual and also to increase the profile of sports in the country. And the circumstances and just the tragic timing, not that there's ever a good time for this, but the tragic timing is just something that's, like you guys said, it's hard to comprehend. But, you know, condolences to his friends and his family, and, you know, we hope there's a way that the sporting fraternity in the country can find a way of remembering him going to the future and not quickly forgetting, as you mentioned.
Tahir, you're involved in sports psychology as well. How difficult is it for the rest of the athletics fraternity in such a situation?
I think it is quite difficult. In all honesty, we're looking at losing an icon, right? They're looking at losing someone they train with almost on a daily basis. When they go to training camp, I think they're together 24/7. You're looking not only at a partner, not only at a colleague, they become family. So as much as you know, his own family, his colleagues become part and parcel of that family that they live and share. It's devastating. They will be, the thought process is going on in their heads. It's going to be crazy. It's like we've lost someone who is like a brother to us. So it's not going to be easy. And I think this is the point where, as you rightly pointed out, from a psychologist perspective, from the sports psychology perspective, we need to look at how we look at our athletes, and not only, and athletes in general in all sports, and how we take care of them. As you pointed out, it's a whole, the individual forms his own ecosystem. And it's not a new thing, by the way, when you're looking at saying modernization. In all honesty, sports psychologists have spoken about this very, very long ago. You have the Braun-Febers model, where you look at the ecosystem of the athlete, you look at the microsystem, the macrosystem, the mesosystem, everything involving around it. It's just that we've not adapted to it. We've always looked at them as individuals rather than them coming in with a whole
part of a
whole big community that they're coming with. So it's something that I really echo your sentiments in this, that we really need to take up on this pretty heavily.
It's when you talk about the, because here's the thing, in this country for the most part, we have a coach, then you have an agent.
And then the family.
And then you have the family, and then you have the training camp. That's it. That worked in 1975, it worked in 1984, it worked in 1999, it worked in 2005. So we're still working with it in 2024. And that's why I feel like maybe we need to look at, like you said, an athlete is a whole ecosystem on their own. When you look at how Usain Bolt's team was, from his best friend who he got from the US to come and stick by him, to his mom, to his race agent, to his financial manager, to his communications manager, to his psychologist. All these guys would sit down and then they are essentially running the guy. So he's no longer just him, he's no longer just Tahir.
It's a decision, it's a community decision. But when do you think this started? You're taking Usain Bolt, do you think it started after he won the World Championship?
No, they probably did it as soon as he ran in Athens, and everyone thought, well, he could have done better, but he didn't. And then they thought, now his next one he's going to step up, because when he won in Beijing, he was 21. So they must have started maybe four years earlier, I would assume, because everyone knew, from when he was a child, everyone knew this guy is going to be a star.
Exactly. Now, let's go. You've looked at the athlete and Usain Bolt. Look at the tennis players. How do they work? You've been to tennis tournaments. Yes. You've seen their whole box.
Yes.
How many people in a box? The whole private box is his, with his whole team. His whole team will have his coach. His coach is one. 3 are family. Who is the rest of them there?
Hitting partner, agent,
psychologist,
manager, psychologist, physio.
They work as a team, and this team is built from the time they're coming up. This starts from your grassroots levels. You identify, you create these ecosystems. It starts at grassroots. It starts when they're coming up. You know who your talents are. You spot your talents, you work with them, and that's how it progresses.
So maybe that's our main problem, because in this country, especially in athletics, talent does grow on trees. Like you blink and
that's it.
We have a star. You blink, Mordecai is winning 5,000 meters at the World Championships. And then you blink, Tahir shows up, wins the Olympics, and everyone is asking, who is that? So maybe we are not able to.
We're not picking up. We're not picking up at that point in time where, and then when we do pick up, we're not creating an ecosystem, as you're saying. We're still living in that old system of coach, trainer, family making the decisions, and agent. Now at least we have an agent.
Right. Hold on to that thought. We're going to take a very short break. And of course, after that break, we'll be discussing why one of the reasons why these two gentlemen are here. It's about sports injuries. All that and much more coming up on Spot On.
You're watching Spot On in association with KCB.
Conchita's just pretending to be crazy. She told me that before she went missing. I'm sure Celestina has silenced anyone who knows her darkest secrets.
I'm going to have Conchita located before Celestina does anything to her.
There's a reward for anyone who can find Miss Conchita. I know where she can be found. Let's meet her. This feels off.
Mitch, I'm not afraid. If Celestina's really the one behind this, then maybe it's time we faced each other.
All right, but be careful. Say your prayers because this is your last day on Earth. Finally. I'm going to make you pay for what you did to us. For killing my sister, Mia!
Prudential is now on M-Pesa app. Get a cancer cover from as low as 750 bob per month. Na pia, ukiwa admitted Hosi, unapata chapa daily. For each day hauko hustle for as low as 1,250 bob per month.
If you want to be free and live like a child again, why stress about germs? If you must worry, then worry about winning. Why worry about germs? When you come home, bring tales and stories. Why bring in germs?
Shield your families from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
Fomi kijipa, mimi nani? Now it's time to get extreme ice fresh. Ukiwa fresh all day, una stay fresh all night. Niki step onto the scene, na nikiona Venti, shajua rada. Hona bro, be a boss man, be your own man. Ukiwa your own man, unakaa fiti na una smell even better. Be your own man with new Vassman Extreme Ice.
The truth is not governed. The truth governs our beliefs, our faith, the trust we give, the democracy we seek. When held back, it always breaks free. Seek the truth. Set yourself free. Subscribe to read online at epaper.nation.africa. Daily Nation, the truth unfiltered.
Umepata safari ya dharura?
Ndio.
So ulikuwa unyape tu uende bila kuaga?
Nikikubali kukaa na yeye, hakukuwa na kitu. Tuliishi single room ya mabati. Na hata nikakubali kumlelea huyo nisi wake. Kasi msaada watu wetu, tungekuwa pale pale.
Mbona umekuwa mwongo hivi? Ulisema unataka kumwoa Helen. Kumbe kisiri unakutana na Rose? And colluding to put me in the dark. You had no intention of marrying Helen, right?
Nilikuwa nataka nikupigie simu, lakini vile umekuja hapa, nataka uniambie kila kitu.
As we gather in Gaborone for this exchange of ideas, let us remind ourselves of the hope that Africa represents. This hope has been demonstrated in many success stories, which we must constantly communicate in the most true perspective to the rest of the world and dispel the distortions of Afro-pessimistic narratives.
You're watching Spot On in association with KCB.
Welcome back to Spot On, and on the show we are privileged to have a Daktari Mordecai. You're an orthopedic surgeon, and you've been fiddling with something in your hands there. Just help us understand what you're holding and how important are certain parts of it.
You should clarify that when you say a statement like that. I'm holding a model of
that's a good one, Daktari, yes.
of the knee joint.
Yes.
So that's the right knee.
Just lift it up a bit so that you can see the cup. Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's a model. It's a model of the knee.
Okay.
So the lower bit is the tibia. The top part is the femur or your thigh bone. And one of the elements we're talking about is this ligament in between the two bones. It's called the anterior cruciate ligament, and that's the ACL that.
Okay.
We hear all major athletes getting injured about.
So the ACL is which specific part?
The ACL is this bit here in
Okay,
between. I don't know if we can see that clearly. So just between the blue bits, that little element there that's going between the bottom bit of the bone and the top there. So that's the anterior cruciate ligament, and as you can see, it acts as a link between the two bones. And it's very important in providing stability to the knee, especially in athletes who are performing twisting and turning sports, so like football, basketball, netball, pretty much most sports apart from straight line running.
So how do you injure it?
So typically it's your foot was planted in the ground and you're changing direction and your knee sort of twists with your foot being in the same spot and your whole body weight turning around with it. And typically, people describe hearing a pop, something failed, you can't finish playing that game. The knee swells up gradually, and you just know there's something wrong with the knee. In fact, my good friend, Dr. Tahir, can explain that in live detail, as he has experienced exactly what happens.
So there's an interesting connection. Just give us the background.
So Dr. Mordecai Atinga is a magician when it comes to knees. He sorted my knee out. I had an ACL tear. So I was playing football. As you correctly pointed out, like not correctly, but obviously he knows way more than I do.
Right.
But I have a lived experience of it. So playing football, someone stepped on me, you can see how heavy I am, yeah? So now me forcing myself to move, the knee, the leg stays back, the knee goes with my body. So heard the pop sound, went out, thought I'd come back. A minute later, go back down, and that's it. I lived with a torn ACL for 5 years. I continued playing football on it. So I think I kept making it worse every time I played. And then I went to Dr. Tinga, and he goes like, this knee is gone. Like the ACL is gone, and there's probably tendon involvement here as well. And yeah, so then we went on to the whole surgery. And 6 months later, I was back playing football. Now I'm, I think, 1 year down.
You had played with it for about 5 years.
5 years. I played with it on and off.
Okay.
So,
but you weren't feeling any discomfort, or it reached a point the discomfort was too much?
You play on and off. So I'd play 1 day, and then 3 months sit out because the knee is swollen to the size of a football. So you sit out for 3 months, come back, play 1 day. They say love of the game, but
but at what cost?
At what cost?
Doc, how does the procedure go? How do you repair his, for example? When someone comes with you, then he's swollen. How's the treatment procedure like?
Okay, so we kind of stage the treatment. So the first step is allowing the knee to cool down if it comes when it's acutely swollen and inflamed. So if he came to see me and it was the size of a football, I'd say, take some time out, let it cool down, do some gentle exercises, get all the movement back before we then contemplate surgery, if that's the way we're going to go. For the surgery, there are a number of ways you can stabilize or you can reconstruct the ligament. One of the common ones is using the hamstring tendons, which we get from this part of your thigh there. And what we do, we just make it into a graft, and we drill, if we come back to the model, we drill a couple of holes, one hole through the tibia, one hole through the femur, and then we shuttle.
So just for people watching, tibia is which part?
The tibia is the lower bit.
Below the knee. Below the knee?
Below the knee.
And the femur is above.
And the thigh is above the knee.
Okay.
So it's all done keyhole surgery, so tiny small holes we use, and then we pass the graft through. And the recovery time is really to enable the tendon we use to then become a ligament and to blend into the bones and the body and avoid the risk of getting injured later.
Of course, first of all, it's complex from what we understand. When we see ACLs in sports, we think, oh, this is complex. And then, of course, there's the cost element.
Yes.
So how does your clinic manage the complexity and the cost so that guys are able to deal with it?
That's a very good question, and it's one of the constant battles we have, because like we pointed out, on the one hand, we want to be cutting edge. We want to be doing the latest, funkiest things that everyone is doing. You Richard Stedman in the States. That's what we want to be doing, but that has to be balanced equally against the ability to offer care to the wide population, a big population that we are serving. I think we're fortunate in terms of the clinic we have at Aga Khan at the moment. The hospital has given us what we call a package, which is just a fixed cost way of dealing with ACL injuries. So it just means we can still give that cutting edge without having to compromise anything. So it's a really positive, endeavor by the hospital, but it's one that I guess has to be balanced because the hospital will be taking a hit on that, but it allows us to offer this service to a wide number of people. And at the end of the day, we don't make any compromises. So much as cost is always this background music that we have to deal with, there's no compromise to be made. If I'm dealing with Daktari here, I need him back playing football, and it's the whole point of doing the operation.
Who suffers from ACLs more? Because I've had their stats. Is men, women, overweight people like Tahir and I, or fit people like the two of you on that side?
I play football. Don't say that about me.
No, you're the one who told us. Look at me. So I'm like, I've got company.
Offset. Heavy. Heavy set.
You guys are company. You're great.
Yeah.
That's a very good question. So I think if you looked at the statistics, still generally, men will suffer more ACL injuries than women. But I think as a percentage of the number of players playing at the moment in football, it's quite surprising how many female athletes are getting ACL injuries. I'm sure you guys would have seen the build-up to the World Cup. There were so many top-level female footballers who suffered ACL injuries, and there was a point in time where I think of the top 20 female footballers, five of them had ACL deficient knees or had suffered ACL injuries at some point, which is a crazy statistic. And there's an element of anatomy, hormones that play into that. And I think we're still lagging behind slightly in the research in terms of understanding exactly why women are that vulnerable to it compared to men, and what can be done to prevent it, which is the most important bit.
Tahir, when you went to the doctor, and then of course there's usually apprehension anytime somebody knows they're going to go under the knife. How did you handle that for yourself? Because there's some athletes, some sportsmen and women who feel like the moment they go under the knife, you're not at 100% as you are before. For you, how was it? Of course, you have the advantage you're a sports psychologist, so.
Well, I was not a sports psychologist then. Okay. At that time, I was just a doctor.
Okay.
In fact, at that time, I was a doctor. I just started my master. I'd finished my first year in psychiatry at that time at company. So I'm also a psychiatrist.
Okay.
So when I went to doc, for me, I knew this was surgery, because 5 years down the line, you're looking at play, sit out for 3 months, play, sit out for 3 months. It was kind of, you need to get this done if you want to be playing regularly.
Yes.
And addicted to football, so had to really get it done. I think the first time I met him, I told him, Doc, look, I'm addicted to football. I need to be on the ground. That's the only reason I'm doing it. I'm a doctor. I really don't, I can choose any other sport that's not going to really have an impact on my knee, but I need to be on the ground because I love football so much. So you need to get me on the ground.
Doc, so for other patients, for those who, for him at least he had an advantage.
Yes.
He kind of understood what it meant and what it necessitated at that particular point in time. How is that conversation when it comes to other individuals who are a bit apprehensive, so that you're able to alleviate those fears?
That's a very good point. And firstly, Tahir was a model patient.
No, he had disappeared. He was playing for 5 years.
He came with complete clarity of thought and knew exactly what he wanted to do and get back to it. And he did it as a day case, operated in the morning, he went home in the evening, and all went well. In terms of patients who come in and are apprehensive, there's a balance to be struck as a doctor, because we don't coerce or make people feel they have to have an operation. Like Tahir said, he was surviving. He was doing 5 years, but he couldn't do the thing he loved. So that's the first element of it, trying to find out what the patient is not able to do and figuring out how important that is to them. And then the next point is just laying out the options, saying, the operation allows you to get back to what you want to do. After the recovery time, there's some risks involved. We try to mitigate those risks, but things might not always work out the way we want.
Right.
And so you paint the picture of the pros and the cons, worst case scenario, best case scenario, and then you give them time to go and reflect upon it. And I invite my patients to get a second opinion as well, because sometimes, like you say, people hear an operation, they're thinking, I'll never be the same again, and I don't want to go through that. So you must allow them space to breathe and to think about and reflect on their options.
But I think to add on what Doc is saying, we have moved on from that point in time where 30 years ago, ACL injuries were career ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people have undergone ACL from I think the late 90s, early 2000s. We have examples. Ruud van Nistelrooy. Ruud van Nistelrooy, just as he signed for United, got an ACL.
Yeah.
Stayed out for 9 months, came back and was the league top scorer for 2 years. If there's an Arsenal supporter, you can hate as much as you want. What's his name? Ibrahimovic.
Yep.
Zlatan.
Zlatan. At the age of 37, 38, he got an ACL, came back 6 months. Yes, he called himself a lion, and lions don't heal like humans, and that whole issue. But he came back and he played. So ACLs are no longer career ending. I think I shared with you just as well, and when we're waiting about the study with the French skiing team.
Yeah, yeah.
Apparently, there's a study that's been done with by the French skiing team, where they found out that people who undergo ACL reconstruction, the skiers who have undergone ACL reconstruction, have got more podium finishes in their team than the ones who hadn't got.
That's interesting.
So it's almost like an advantage by disadvantage.
Yeah,
something like that.
Exactly. So after reconstruction, they've come out stronger.
So, Doc, prevention is better than cure is what doctors always say.
Yes.
So how do we take care of our knees? How do we make sure that we keep them as steady as possible?
In general?
Yes, in general, and then you can maybe go specifically.
In general, knee health involves the same things you do for any musculoskeletal or muscle issue. You want to be, you need to be warming up, you need to be preparing well for whatever your sport you're going to engage in. You can't go from 0 to 100. You will get an injury somewhere if you do that. So it's all about a gradual build-up. The sports you're playing, I think, there's always specific training regimes that you can take up for those. Look at footwear, the kind of kit you're using. You know, if you're skiing, the kind of skis you're using. You know, those are dangerous things I don't take part in nowadays. But yeah, so for every sport, there's specific things you can do, and there are a couple of pretty decent ACL prevention measures that have been studied that seem to work, you know, but they have to be done at the beginning of the season, where you go through this whole program where you're really strengthening your hamstrings and your quadriceps and, you know, balancing your whole body, and it seems to have some effect in preventing or reducing ACL injuries.
Doc, we've spoken extensively about ACL, but there are also other injuries, because I'm guilty as charged. I've had an issue with my meniscus. I'm sure that's one of them as well. Which other ones are also common injuries for the knees?
Apart from the meniscus, the other common one that's
where's the meniscus? Like, is it? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you can if you can see the thing I was accused of holding down below. So the meniscus lies between the femur and the tibia. Okay. It's this tissue here that looks like a shock absorber, and it helps to spread the load coming from the top going down to the bottom part of the leg. So you do commonly injure menisci, and you can see how it's like the ground on which a lot of force comes in there, and that can be damaged. For Manchester United fans at the moment, MCLs are all the rage because of Martinez, and that's this is this tough band here on the inside of the knee. So that would be on the inside of the knee. MCL stands for the medial collateral ligament, and again, it's one
We're
of
in a biology class today.
And it's again one of the connections between your thigh bone and your lower bone, and it's easily injured because it's when your knee bends inwards, and that's common in a lot of sports. Something hits you from the side.
Okay, so what I'm getting from you, yes, in competitive sports, injuries are inevitable. It will happen, but it's how it is handled, how it is managed.
Yes.
Now, maybe I can bring you in. You're a psychiatrist, you're in sports psychology. That period post-injury is usually very crucial, because we've interacted with different athletes, and you find for some of them, yes, physically they're fine, but mentally they're not healed. I don't know if it's the correct word. So they're not in that state they were before the injury.
Yeah, because any form of injury, PTSD, post-traumatic stress, anxiety, depression, they're thinking about loss of livelihood, possibly. They're thinking about how, if I'm going to look at, will I come back the same as I left? Will I be the same person that, will I be able to come back into the team, for example, a team sport? Will I be equally as effective in an individual sport, for example? So all those thoughts will come into play, and that is one of the reasons why people become apprehensive of doing surgery as well, because that's also what they're thinking of. Now, in the sports world, again, we come back to that element. Remember that we started the conversation with, the show with?
Yes.
Who is around you? Because that's going to be what is creating your mental health. That is what's playing for your mental health.
Right.
Are there people who are going to be supportive Is it an element of support, or is it an element of you only bearing the load of it on your own? So immediately post-surgery, all these thoughts will come. And that is a crucial time on how to, on resolving that thing and coming out mentally stronger. And I think that's one of the reasons why when they did the study with the French skiing team, when those people who got injured were given the right amount of support and the right show of unity and confidence and all of that, the treatment started at surgery. Before surgery, prior to surgery, they started healing because their mental health was worked on.
Doc, question, how much are we taking in sports psychology in this country? Like, are people accepting it, or are we still saying, we'll tough it out, we'll go through are we starting to accept it as a country? Are you seeing people agreeing to, hey, let's talk?
I think we have one, as Doc pointed out to me, there's one who is who works with AK, Athletics Kenya.
Vanessa Kiwumi, excellent sports psychologist.
And I think, but you see, at the end of the day, the individual sportsmen and women are possibly doing it on their own. I think Ferdinando Manyala has his own, if I'm not mistaken now. There was a talk about him not having one about, I think, a few months or a year back, and because of affordability and all of that.
You need to chime in.
Yeah, and sorry, this is a bit of a plug, but so at the moment, we're actually running, we're just about to start a big research study just looking at the effect of sports injuries on the mental health of athletes and how that can have negative effects, and just a way of, one, collecting the data so that we understand the burden of the problem, which we don't know. I mean, in the research I didn't find any studies that have been done in Africa just to understand what happens to athletes.
That is for your thesis or your?
No. This is for knowledge around the sports, around sports, because we need to know that information. Because I suspect that what we'll find out is going to be data that will then be, like the important stuff that the sports psychologists and psychiatrists will be using to determine how much input they'll require in people, and you'll figure out coping mechanisms that hopefully will be something positive for our athletes.
What was your experience? Because you've had a stint in Australia, if I'm not wrong?
Yes.
And New Zealand as well.
That's right. Yeah.
And in other countries as well around the world. What was your experience, especially in your craft? What do you feel like is something that needs to be replicated here much, much more? Especially when it comes to sports injuries.
Yes, that's a very good question and wide-ranging. I think the biggest thing that I saw was just the clarity of thought with which injured athletes would come to see the surgeon. There was no doubt in their minds that they wanted to get back to playing.
Right.
So I have an
a
injury.
level of self-awareness.
Yes,
as well.
yes, it's self-awareness and no fear of the intervention. So, like, we suspect your meniscus. None of this waiting. It would be.
I think my fear is just when I was told that I have to go under the knife. So
none of this waiting for 8 months.
Yeah,
1 year.
No,
I don't even we are still going. 1 year,
we're
2
still
years.
Going, we're still going. No, they come to you and say, in fact, they walk in the office and say, okay, I think I've got a meniscus injury. I've got the MRI scan, which has confirmed it. So when are you going to sort it out? It's not the discussion surrounding whether you should, shall we, or what happens if I don't.
So that level of self-awareness.
Yes, self-awareness, and I guess that comes from also the availability of resources and a system that's geared towards getting everyone back up and playing.
Dr. thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I wish we have had more time. I liked how you brought in a very unique. I didn't know that you'd taken so long before you sought medical attention. But it's understood. So what would you advise athletes? How do you, because I'm sure there's somebody as well who is thinking I can handle it. And not just with an ACL, just with any, because look, there are a lot of us who are attempting to be recreational athletes, recreational runners. What's the advice? How do we deal with those aches and pains? Yeah. Look, aches and pains, well, they're going to happen in everything, but if you feel, and as even recreational athletes, there's that thing that okay, something's not right. And when you have that feeling, seek professional advice. Keyword, seek professional advice. Thank
Yeah.
you so much
Thank you
for
very
sharing
much.
your sentiments. Now let's shift gears. Obviously, when I use that terminology, it also means that I'm talking about motorsport. I like using it. Wakabi just looking at me strangely. I understand. I've overused that expression. Give me another one.
No. Stick with
Shift
that
gears.
one. Shift gears into
Indicate or I
into
don't know.
Safari Rally. Or, yeah, you could say indicate. Eh?
Indicate.
No,
Doesn't make
that's
sense.
cheesy.
It's
Let's
cheesy.
stick to shifting.
Shifting gears. Let's take a look at the Safari Rally. Of course, it's coming up in the next few weeks or so in Easter weekend. It's back on Easter weekend for those who have loved the rally. Now let's listen into what they had to say, especially KCB's boost to this year's rally.
While 95 million will go towards brand activation and the sponsorship of the two local drivers, Karan Patel, who is the reigning Africa Rally champion, and also Nikhil Sachania. Karan and Nikhil put up a strong show last year, ably representing our brand, and we believe that together we will continue to work for a long time. This sponsorship further commits towards the sport to global elite levels. We are proud to join the government of Kenya and other partners of the Safari Rally and look forward to working together in making this dream a reality.
Wakabi, are you excited for the Easter weekend rally?
Yes, because the rally is back to when we were young and we used to wait for it to go to Mombasa day one and then come back, then go to the Rift Valley. So it's good that it's back on Easter weekend. And remember, we had the conversation about the rally a few weeks ago and we said, you know what? Kenyans need the slightest of excuses to go out and party. So Easter weekend is already party. The rally is another party. And now KCB have said, you know what? Let's make it even better. Let's make sure the branding is up to par. Let's make sure we've got a few drivers we are supporting. And it's really big for the likes of Karan Patel. When you get that kind of sponsorship, it means, come on, you've been given an injection. There's a boost of something. There's a boost of something legal. You know, it's not EPO. So you've been given a boost and hopefully they can build on that because look, part of the rally is the hype around it.
Yes.
How do you create that hype around it if it's not through marketing, it's not through branding, it's not, and who is better to do it than KCB? If you think about it, my earliest memory of covering, especially when we lost WRC status, the one company that kept faith with KNRC and consistently tried to just keep the rally going, keep pushing the efforts to get it back was KCB. So it's good to see that 15, 16 years on, they're still keeping the faith.
Strong. Indeed. Now let's take a look at your feedback. Remember in the beginning of the show we had asked you a question and this time we tried to make it slightly different because we were trying to just reflect and pay homage to the late Kevin Kiptum. What special tribute do you have for the late Kevin Kiptum who passed away this past weekend? And this one, this is a lengthy one and hopefully I can be able to take a look at it, and it's a sentiment that was shared by Sir Mo Farah.
Yep. Can you read? Can I help you?
Yes, you can read it.
Yeah,
It says,
I'm so sad to hear the passing of Kevin Kiptum and his coach, Gavai Hakimana. Kevin was an amazingly talented athlete and had already achieved so much. He truly had a special talent, and I have no doubt he would have gone on to have an incredible career. I send all my sympathies and condolences to his son and to his coach's family and friends at this tragic time.
Right, let's have another sentiment here. This is Eliud Kipchoge. He says, rest in peace, Kevin. And he says, I'm deeply saddened by the tragic passing of the marathon world record holder and rising star Kevin Kiptum, an athlete who had a whole life ahead of him to achieve incredible greatness. I offer my deepest condolences to his young family. May God comfort you during this trying time. Sentiments from the GOAT.
Yep, and that's Fernand Omanyala. It says, waking up to the shocking news of the untimely demise of my teammate in athletics, a hero who proudly represented Kenya, was difficult. Your life embodied the resilient spirit of our nation, and in our hearts you will never be gone. You reminded us that it is possible, and we believed. We will always believe. We mourn your loss deeply. The nation grieves, and I personally feel the pain. Rest in peace, Kevin. My heartfelt condolences to your family.
Fernando Manyala there. Let's have another sentiment here, and let's take a look at what you're saying regarding this question. We had asked you just to share you pay your tribute, and hopefully we'll be having some more, because this, of course, there's been global sorrow,
an outpouring of grief all over the world.
Locally,
Maina Moses, rest in peace, hero. Straight and to the point. Samuel Dunda, achieved a lot while young, star dimmed while it popped. Rest easy, champ.
I hope we have another one here. Timothy Nderitu, the last one here. You were born a champ and a hero. Rest easy, we shall indeed remember you. Now let's focus on the shot of the weekend, and this is a moment we get to appreciate a unique moment that has been captured by our colleagues, the photography department, and it was Siler Kiplagat. He captured this one, Okabi. It was the WPL match. And you can see just how you can tell they were
the save.
Yes, they were making the save. You can can tell how they were battling for the ball there.
Yes, I'm trying to figure out whether which part of the box that is. That's actually the thing in my head. I'm trying to think, is it further out? It's probably further out as you go towards, maybe past the penalty. Actually, it should be right on the edge of the box.
So now that is Kenya Police Rebecca Okwaro, the lady on the left.
Yes.
You can see with the uniform, obviously you can see the Kenya Police crest. And then she was fighting for the ball against Vihiga Queens keeper Sophia Kinyi. As I said, it was the Women's Premier League.
Sophie came out on top?
Sophie came out on top, but Police won the game 1-0. Photo was taken by Siler Kiplagat.
Yeah, Vihiga are the queens of football in this country.
Now let's take a look at other discussions that have been driving the conversation on social media, and this is time for the On the Timeline. We'll involve our gentlemen here, the gentlemen in the studio as well, because I'm sure they're passionate about other sports as well. Africa Cup of Nations, let's take a look at this first post that was shared by the club, that the star of Borussia Dortmund.
Yes, I like it. I like the fact that the European clubs have made an effort, or they've made sure that they're highlighting what's happening. Sebastian Haller, of course, has a wonderful story. I think you spoke about Fairy Tale on Saturday on the show, and I think this is what you meant. A guy who's had to overcome such odds. I mean, you can injure your ACL, but he had cancer. For him to bounce back, I think, like Dr. Tahiri said, I think the amount of support from psychologically, the amount of psychological help must have been crazy.
Yeah.
Doc.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think mental health, this guy's mental health must have been to a different world. Brilliant, brilliant comeback. As you correctly pointed out, fairy tale story, fairy tale ending.
Yeah.
Been through hell and back, and then gets to
to
live this and score the winning goal.
Indeed.
In the semi and the final.
Absolutely.
Staying with the African Cup of Nations, Didier Drogba, he was on the sidelines almost each and every match. We'll just quickly breeze through. You can just have a look at what he was doing, Wakabi, cheering on the Ivorians, giving the team all the energy that they needed, telling them, let's get it on, Wakabi.
I'm not sure I'm a great fan of that, but it's okay.
But it worked.
No, I don't think they need him. I almost feel like he should just sit and let the occasion be for the guys who are actually playing. Maybe I'm being picky, we know about celebrations in the past few weeks, but I felt like just sit, let the young men enjoy it.
Let King Didi live, man. He's the king. Let King Didi live, man. And all that he's doing is just getting his team up and running. Did you see how they supported at the end?
Yes.
The whole team came and supported with him.
I don't think
That's
the fans need
motivation.
Didi.
The team needs Didi.
I don't think they need him.
Gentlemen, I can tell you disagree the other night. Brighton, they shared their support with one of their colleagues, Simon Adingra. He was one of the star players for the Ivory Coast team. Let's just get an idea of what they said. We won't listen to the entire clip, but this is what they shared.
Good luck in the final, Simon.
Good luck, Simon. All the best.
Simon, all the best. Good luck in the final. Peace.
Good luck, bro. All the best. Vamos, Simon.
Good luck in the final, Simon.
Hello, Simon. I wish you all the best for the final. What an achievement in your own country. Go and win against Nigeria. We wish you all the best, and then we hope you come back good. Come on. Final, brother. Simon, good luck in the final, bro.
Yes, Simon. All the best in the final, mate. Good luck. Good luck in the final, Simon.
Our director seems to be a Brighton fan. She wanted to hear the sentiments of the players. They're just supporting Simon.
It's
right?
really cool. Yeah, I must have learned. It's Simon, not Simon, but
now,
really, really cool.
Now, one gentleman who supported the team, and unfortunately, it seems the end alikuwa Kasumba. He was the Nooks, Rio Ferdinand. I think you're a Manchester United fan.
Yes.
I could tell you have those.
Hey, we both are. We both are. He's just the quiet one.
So Rio Ferdinand, he posted this, supporting Nigeria. Unfortunately, the result didn't go his way. Okabi.
Yep. To be honest, the Nigerians let down a lot of people.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, a lot of people are happy Nigeria didn't win.
Yes, so Ghanaians have been having a field day.
Who, Ghanaians?
Online.
Yes, because remember, they are ahead of them with 1.
Yes.
It's 4 versus 3.
Yes.
So they didn't want them to get the fourth.
Ah, yes. Because of
Yes,
this
and they
war.
have this rivalry that it's just there, whether it's Jollof or it's the
Yeah,
AFCON.
Jollof is pilau. Is it pilau? It looks like pilau. I don't know.
You start a war, don't even.
Let me, please cut off that part. Don't post it online. I don't want to be in trouble. I don't want my timeline to be on fire.
All the Nigerians are off you.
I apologize. Guard of honor was given to a Nigerian school teacher by South African students. I found this quite fascinating. I know it was during the semi-final, but I think it was just important to show how the Africa Cup of Nations has unified the continent. Let's take a look at how these students appreciated their teacher after Nigeria beat, of course, Nigeria. Bafana. The rivalry was between Amapiano and Kwaito. Amapiano and what would you call the Nigerian music?
Afrobeat,
yeah. Let's take a look and see what they were doing.
Celebration.
Yes. Now, this one is, you know, the thing is sometimes you call it catching lightning in a bolt. Have you ever watched wrestling? I'm sure you've watched wrestling. Yeah, you know The Undertaker?
Yes.
You know The Undertaker, right?
Yes.
We obviously all know Ronaldo. I'm trying to go somewhere here.
Yes. We're following.
You're following. So, take a look at this. This is like actually a moment in history, Wakabi. That is The Undertaker, and that is Cristiano Ronaldo at the background there. So, The Undertaker was one who was bringing the trophy, I think, for a championship between Al Nassr, the club that Cristiano Ronaldo plays for. So you can see Ronaldo, he's a superstar, but that's The Undertaker.
Like it's not often you see him almost sort of, not overawed really, but looking at him like, The Undertaker. I saw this and I couldn't quite, I was trying to bring them together.
But
like
you know, remember money talks.
Yeah, but like context.
Saudi Arabia talks.
Yes.
Like context, like it's The Undertaker and it's Ronaldo and it's a football game. You know, I can understand Didier Drogba and Ivory Coast fans. I can understand Adebayo with the trophy or Eto'o, but Undertaker, football, Ronaldo.
It's Saudi. They were playing in Saudi, and I think that's what the catch was, bringing someone that the fans love in general as a population.
Wakabi, this is The Undertaker.
I know, it's The Undertaker, but...
Well, we have to go. Thank you so much for watching Sporton. To our guests, thank you so much, and continue doing the good work you're doing in managing sports injuries. Hopefully, we'll host you again soon once you're done with your research, just to understand what you're able to discover. From the entire team who made the broadcast possible, thank you so much, and we'll see you again next time.
Spot On, in association with KCB.
Step up to more fun and get more than you pay for. Upgrade now and get boosted to the next package for free. Dial *423# or call 0711 066 000 and upgrade to the next level for free.
If you must worry, then worry about winning. Why worry about germs?
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
Umepata safari ya dharura?
Ndio.
So ulikuwa unyape tu uende bila kuaga?
Nikikubali kukaa na yeye, hakukuwa na kitu. Tuliishi single room ya mabati. Na hata nikakubali kumlelea huyo nisi wake. Kasi msaada watu wetu, tungekuwa pale pale.
Mbona umekuwa mwongo hivi? Ulisema unataka kumwoa Helen. Kumbe kisiri unakutana na Rose? And colluding to put me in the dark. You had no intention of marrying Helen, right?
Nilikuwa nataka nikupigie simu, lakini vile umekuja hapa, nataka uniambie kila kitu.
To get Sala Zangu Kwako as your skiza tune, dial *812*806#.
Skiza, non-nation.
Get ready to dive into the pulse of a generation that's shaping the future.
On this new season of Speaking of Gen Z, we uncover stories and emotions behind relationships, friendship, family, and much more.
It's not about the miles between us, it's about the connections we share.
And this is the Strings Attached edition.
Baby, come give me something,
Can we talk about situationships?
Speaking of Gen Z podcast, the Strings Attached edition. Wednesdays from 10 a.m. on Nation FM and Nation.Africa.
Welcome to Speaking of Gen Z.
NTV, turning on your world. The following program has been rated GE. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
Coming up to his 24th birthday, and with more than 250 appearances for Manchester City, Phil Foden is no longer a young player on the rise. Under the rules of the Premier League, players classed as homegrown are not rare, given they must have spent 3 seasons with the club before the age of 21. Which is why players such as Cesc Fabregas, Romelu Lukaku and Paul Pogba, internationals for Spain, Belgium and France, were considered homegrown by the Premier League. But in terms of truly homegrown English superstars coming out of a club's own backyard, those are truly rare. And that is when you think of names such as Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, Wayne Rooney and Harry Kane. Which is perhaps why there is growing excitement and expectation that Manchester City attacking midfielder Phil Foden might become that next great English superstar. That much was again shown as Foden logged a hat-trick in City's win over Brentford last Monday night. The standout player in a team that featured Erling Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva.
Phil is playing, as I said 2 weeks ago, the most influencing season in the team in terms of goals, assists. He's reading really well the game, and the threat when he's close to the TR box always is there. He's an incredible runner, how he runs for the team, so he's an exceptional player.
This from a player who was born in the greater Manchester town of Stockport and joined City at the age of 4 before officially joining the academy at 9 and making his first team debut at 17. After his debut campaign and 2 seasons of settling into the first team, Foden broke out with